Hey there, guys. So I want to thank you, as always, for joining the live stream today. And of course, today is a little bit of a different topic than sort of what I normally discuss. However, I do want to address one thing. I usually always mention something before I get started. But one thing I do want to address straight out is that I'm really want to thank you guys who take the initiative to share a lot of my content, and just sharing the post. I mean, I don't really tell people to constantly share anything. I don't want to be that person to really try to force you to share my content. That's not what I want to do. And so I do put a lot of effort into what I create, but I want it to. I don't want you to feel like you have to share everything, but it really does help out a ton if you do. But I really wanted to address this because I see a lot of people that have really put a ton of effort in sharing my content, and that really means a lot. Because I do put in a lot of effort on this. I'm working on this pretty much every single day. I'm constantly trying to create content, thinking of new ideas day in and day out. And, it can be a little bit challenging at times trying to figure out what I should talk about next and trying to brainstorm, what is something that's valuable that I can give to, just my audience as far as it relates to fitness and health. What can I come up with? And I really just, again, I want to thank you guys who share everything I create because I do put in a ton of effort to give you guys the best content possible and to give you guys the best experience. Um, so that was one thing that really had been on my mind that I wanted to, you know, really thank you guys who have shared all my stuff, because I've noticed that my views are starting to change. I've gotten a ton more attention. Um, I've been growing a little bit more on a lot of my accounts, which is great. And that's what I've been trying to do is getting the word out on, my content and on my business. Um, and I just can't thank you guys enough for, all of the support that you've given me on, building this business because over the past year, that has been my focus. It's been challenging, it's been difficult, but it's moving. There's a lot of movement happening, and I'm getting more clients recently. So there's a lot of changes happening. But I really wanted to mention that beforehand because that had been on my mind to really address that, and it means a lot with everybody who shares my content. That really means a ton. So that's really all I want to discuss, related to that. But I do want to say too that here pretty soon, likely in the next month, I will be doing another 14-day trial event. It'll probably be in September. It's probably when I'm going to shoot to do that. But I'll share more information as on that as it comes. But I do want to share another trial event where you guys can try out the program for a short period of time. Um, but with all that being said, I wanted to address that as well. Let's go ahead and talk about today's topic, which is addressing fitness myths. Now, this is something totally unique to what I normally discuss, so it is going to be a little bit structured a little bit differently. However, I'm going to go through various different topics, and some of these topics may be something that you may not be aware of. There may be some topics that you know and you aren't aware is a myth. But I do want to go through these and sort of discuss them and discuss the facts versus the myths. So, fitness myths, basically to define it, is a false or inaccurate belief about exercise, nutrition, and overall well being that have gained popularity despite lacking scientific evidence or accurate information. These myths can mislead individuals and hinder their progress toward achieving their fitness goals. So, a big thing with me, and I try to be, very clear with how I teach, and how I coach. I guess I should say how I coach as it relates to fitness. Because a lot of my certification, where I got my certification from, is very scientific based. Because I'm certified through the National Academy of Sports Medicine. So whenever, I got certified, I'd always heard of them. And, even before I was got into, really getting into fitness, I'd always heard of NASM. Um, and so they are very scientific based as far as how their training method is sort of how they approach, fitness training and things of that nature. And so, that's a big thing with me is I like to be, you know, focus on the accurate information of getting to a fitness goal, focus on, what is true versus what is false, what is inaccurate. And that is something that I wanted to sort of discuss today is because that is a big part of my training method is that I try to be as, scientific based as possible, not to rely on fads or, just anything that kind of goes out there that you hear, maybe on TV or just these quick fads that sort of pop up and have no basis in, the facts of how you reach a fitness goal or how you reach your fitness goals. So that's just what I want to address today is, going over those myths and, showing the opposite side, which is the facts. So the first thing we're going to talk about is spot reduction. You have likely heard about this. This term may not be familiar, but you have likely heard about this. So the myth is that doing exercises that target specific areas like ab exercises for belly fat, will lead to fat loss in those areas. So that is actually inaccurate. So the fact is that fat loss occurs uniformly across the body, not just in the targeted areas. A balanced diet and overall exercise are key for fat loss. So when you're talking about this myth, you've likely heard, especially with abs, this is like a big thing where if you're constantly doing a lot of crunches or if you constantly do this specific ab exercise, then you're gonna, like a 5 minute workout or things like that, targeting, abs, targeting legs. So you have to have a routine. You have to have a balanced exercise routine as well as nutrition in order for you to go to, get that fat loss, to lead to fat loss. So keep that in mind that, doing exercises that target a specific area are not necessarily bad, but another thing you want to keep in mind is that it's not necessarily going to lead to fat loss if you're just focusing on that specific area. So fat loss occurs uniformly throughout the body. So, again, having a balanced diet and overall exercise are key to fat loss or to a fat loss goal. So sort of keep that in mind. If your goal is related to fat loss, keep in mind that you need to have a balanced routine, that you don't just need to focus on specific exercise. So this is sort of geared towards women. Um, and even though I do, primarily have my target market towards men, this is something that I want to address as well because I know that there are, women that look at my content as well. But this can, is something that should be discussed. So, bulky muscles for women. So, there's the myth that when women lift weights, they will develop bulky muscles like men, which is completely inaccurate because women have a completely different body type from men. So women generally lack the hormonal profile for significant muscle bulking. Weightlifting helps improve strength, tone, and metabolism without excessive muscle gain. So basically, there's a biological difference between men and women, which is pretty much obvious, is that, women lack the hormones that men have. You know, men have more testosterone, women have more estrogen. Even though both men and women have both testosterone and estrogen, the levels are completely different. And so women are not going to develop muscles in the same way that men develop muscles. So just because you're a woman and you lift weights does not mean you're going to get bulky muscles from, weightlifting. As I've mentioned in the past, weightlifting is very beneficial for fat loss because it's going to increase that metabolism. So, you know, if you're wanting to lose fat, which, that can be a primary target for women, is that for fat loss, then weightlifting is going to be beneficial, especially for women, if that is their primary goal. So keep that in mind that there's a completely different difference between hormones as it relates to men and women, and that women are not going to get bulky just because they lift weights. It's going to help improve so many different levels, but they're not just going to become massive like men. It just doesn't work that way. So, another myth is no pain, no gain. So, there's a myth, and you've heard no pain, no gain before, that pain during or after a workout is necessary for it to be effective. This is actually inaccurate, and for the longest time, I thought this was true, but this is actually not true. So, the fact is that some discomfort is normal, some soreness is normal from exercise, but excessive pain can indicate improper form or overtraining. Effective workouts can be challenging without causing severe pain. I can attest to this. So, basically, as far as when I work out, I'm always doing various different workouts. I try to change up my routine pretty often in the same way that I train my clients. My clients, their routine changes after every so many weeks. So, you know, the reason being for this is, of course, to help to challenge the muscles and to help with stimulating muscle growth. So, basically, for myself, I've been training for a couple of years now, and what I've noticed is that I don't get as sore as I used to when I started training. And even though I'm doing various different exercises, I still don't get sore. So even though I'm not getting sore, I'm still getting muscle. I can still notice the difference that I'm gaining strength and I'm gaining muscle, regardless of not being sore. So just because you don't have any pain from a workout does not necessarily mean that you're not gaining in muscle. For the longest time, it's been a while since I've been really sore, but I'm still gaining muscle. So just understand that just because you're not having any pain or if you're not having, extreme soreness, that does not mean that you're not going to gain muscle. That can mean if you're having, you know, overt pain or just more pain that you're basically, going through a form of overtraining and your body is not, recovering from the workout. So sort of keep that in mind that, you know, some discomfort is fine from workout, but you don't need to have excessive, pain that you're getting from a workout. So just understand the difference between that. Like I said, I rarely get sore, but I still notice that I'm gaining muscle. I'm still, going towards my goal. So pain does not necessarily translate to, gain, basically. Cardio. So this is a big one. A lot of people are not aware of this. Um, but cardio is the best way to lose weight. This is the myth. So cardio exercises are the most effective for weight loss. So this is actually basically inaccurate. And I've sort of touched on this a little bit, but as it relates to talking about, bulky, exercises, like getting bulky for women. So strength training is actually the best option. So strength training builds muscle, which burns more calories at rest. A combination of cardio and strength training is ideal for weight loss. So this is something that is not very much known or is not well known, is that you need to have a balance between your strength training and your cardio. You don't need to have excessive amount of cardio and you just need to have a balance between the two. You know, like for example, if you're doing a workout that's say an hour long and you want to have at least a balance, especially if you're focusing on muscle gain, because if you do too much cardio, it's going to affect your muscle gain goal. It just is because it's not contributing to, you know, that particular goal because you're not getting muscle, you're burning too many calories. And like I talk about with my clients, you got to be in a calorie surplus, which is another topic in itself, but you need to be intaking more calories than you're burning. And when you're burning too many calories, you're not going to be able to build that muscle that you're wanting. So, in other words, cardio is beneficial. It is beneficial. It is not that it is negative and that it's not a good idea to do cardio. You just need to have a balance where you're doing strength training along with cardio. So doing a small amount of cardio, towards the end of your exercise is a good idea while, having the rest of your exercise be in strength training. So just know that you don't need to completely do cardio to lose weight. That's not going to be very effective towards, weight loss. Like I just mentioned, as it relates to, women gaining, being bulky from weightlifting. Weightlifting actually helps with metabolism. It's going to help, you know, with that overall burning of calories. So keep that in mind. The more muscle you have, you're going to burn more calories at rest. So again, cardio is beneficial, but you need to have a balance between the strength training and the cardio. This is another one. So this is one that I actually did not know until I'd actually started getting into my certification and learning a little bit more about, as it relates to like fitness and nutrition and health. But this is actually a major one that a lot of people are not aware of, and I try to address it as many times as I can because it's really the big thing right now. This is like the big, I would call it sort of basically fad, but carbs are bad. So the myth is that carbohydrates are bad for weight loss and should be avoided. So this is actually inaccurate. So a lot of people are not aware that carbs are actually primary energy source. You want to focus on complex carbs like whole grains, fruits, vegetables for sustained energy. So carbs primarily focuses is a primary focus for energy. So basically what you need to do is to substitute. You want to have complex carbs that are whole grains, fruits, or vegetables. So it's pretty much self-explanatory that you want to have good carbs and not, a bunch of white bread or, things of that nature. You want to have, you know, a good balanced diet, as it relates to carbs. So you just want to focus on those whole grains, those fruits and vegetables, and that's not going to affect your weight loss goal at all. So just understand that carbs aren't necessarily bad. You just need to have the proper amount of carbs in your diet. So crunches for abs, and this sort of goes back into what I sort of talked about at the beginning, where the spot reduction thing, where you're targeting a specific spot of your body that's gonna, basically increase that muscle, but you have to have a balance of a workout routine. So crunches for abs. The myth is that doing countless crunches will give you visible abs. This is actually inaccurate. So visible abs require low body fat. So core exercises like planks and twists are important, but diet and full body workouts are crucial for definition. Again, it's a lot of people think it's a quick fix with a lot of, workouts, that there's just a quick fix to it, but that's not the case. It does take effort and work. You have to have the proper full body workouts and you have to have the proper balanced diet in order for you to get those abs. So you have to lose that body fat. And to lose that body fat, you have to have a, full body workouts, workout splits, whichever you're comfortable with, having, at least, 3 to 4 days a week working out and then having a balanced diet throughout your week. And that's how you lower your body fat. And then that in turn will get you to those abs. So keep that in mind that just because you're doing countless amount of crunches is not going to mean you're going to get visible abs. You have to have a balance. You have to have a balanced diet, you have to have a balanced workout routine. So this one is another one that I don't think a lot of people are very much aware of, but it is important to sort of keep in mind. And this kind of goes back to the nutrition aspect, kind of like where I talked about carbs. But the myth is that eating less results in faster weight loss. So the less you eat, the faster you'll lose weight is the myth. The fact is that severely restricting calories can slow down metabolism and can lead to muscle loss. So a balanced diet is essential for sustainable weight loss. So in turn, like I've mentioned, this all kind of connects together if you think about it, a lot of these, because we were talking a lot about muscle and metabolism. So again, going back to that, if you're not eating enough, you're not giving your body enough energy, you're not giving, your muscles the ability to recover, leading to muscle loss, that's lowering your metabolism. In turn, that's going to make you gain weight because you don't have that muscle. Muscle is aiding in burning those calories. Like I just mentioned previously with, let me see if I can find it. So right here, like I mentioned previously, so strength training builds muscle, so which burns more calories at rest. So those calories that are being burned at rest, you know, you're not going to have that if, your metabolism is, slowing down. You don't have that muscle to be able to burn those calories. So your metabolism is not going to be where it should be. So again, just know that eating less is not necessarily a positive way to get to, fat loss or lose weight. So just understand that you don't need to restrict your calories to slow down, and that could lead you to slow down your metabolism and lead to muscle loss. So again, this goes back to what I've discussed overall in this whole, sort of presentation is the balanced diet. That's essential for sustainable weight loss as well as having balanced workouts. Balance. That's basically pretty much summing up what I've talked about today is that there's really no quick fix, to getting to your specific goal. It is a process. It's a process that you have to go through. And a lot of people think that it's just this quick thing. It's like taking a pill and it's done. It doesn't work that way. It is a process. You have to, build habits. You have to build better habits. You have to sustain those habits over a period of time, and then that's how you see those results. That goes in turn, basically, with any sort of goal that you're going towards, it is a process to get there. You have to, clearly define it, and then you have to commit to those habits. And, if you don't commit to those habits, you're not going to see those results. But keep in mind that it's not a quick fix, that there's a lot of myths out there as it relates to so many different things in, the fitness universe, I guess I should say. But the main thing you should take away from this is to have a balanced workout routine, to have a balanced diet, which is likely something I'm going to discuss in the presentation. But that's what you need is the proper sort of balance between the two. But again, what I want to discuss today is sort of address certain myths that you may not be aware of, or some that are common that you aren't aware are a myth. So again, keep these in mind. I hope that you guys found this helpful and valuable. And I hope that is something that you can sort of take with you and something that you can think about. Um, but I hope that you took notes and sort of, was aware of the differences between the myths and the facts. So that's all I have for you guys today. I really want to thank you again for taking the time to watch these live streams. And I really hope that these have been helpful and have gave you a ton of information and have helped you along your fitness journey if you're currently, sort of working towards better habits and, building a better sort of foundation towards, your particular goal. So thank you guys again. If you have any questions about anything I discuss, you can feel free to reach out at my email that I have right here, as well as my phone number. You can text that number and just let me know that it's you and that you have a question about something or you want to give feedback on something that I've discussed in a live stream, or if it's anything previously I discussed. Just feel free to let me know. But with all that being said, guys, that's all I have for you today. I will have another live stream scheduled for next Wednesday, of course, at 12. I will post the event sooner this time. I know I've posted this one a little bit late, but I've gotten sidetracked with a lot of things, and that was why I didn't post it. But I'm going to make sure that I post this event sooner so that you guys, know when it's up and know what the topic is and everything. But thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next live stream.